Intense intro, ladies and
That was
gentlemen.
that was
Yo.
Intense.
That
that
was
was.
Yeah, it is.
fire.
I didn't
Okay, I
know.
thought
I
y'all
didn't
did
know
that
we
for
were
me.
in Zamunda, Wakanda.
Right.
Man, I was excited. I thought the team was about to come out with things and stuff was
Right.
gonna start going.
Listen,
I
I'm
knew
on
we were going
team.
to battle. I know what was going on, but
I'm on Team Smith. All right, I'm on Team Smith. So,
all right, we're gonna need you to get a little bit more volume.
oh, hold on. Is that any
We
better?
live, people. We are live.
Yeah,
There it is. There we go. A little bit better view.
that's better.
A little bit, but if you can do anything to make it better, that'd be great.
Well, I'm gonna go on mute. Y'all go ahead, and I'm gonna try to figure this out. Fresh, where you at when I need you, man?
Hey, you know what happens. That music was so intense it took me to another
It was.
stratosphere.
Right. Well, anyway, so let's do this the proper way. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 13th floor, where the furniture isn't always the best, but the views are amazing. I'm your host today, Coach K, and I'm here with the full squad. For those of you that may have missed the drop today, it's because we're doing this intentional live episode number 222.
Yes, sir.
So if this is your first time joining us, welcome here to the 13th floor, where you can find the true manifestation and proof that there are successful Black males that find that success in not only one lane, but in multiple lanes. And while we're not perfect, we try to sharpen each other and keep each other on point. And you can join us every week via your favorite audio platform or YouTube, where you can follow us and subscribe. And you'll see a couple things going across the bottom of the screen with all of our handles in a little bit. But
Yep.
in the meantime, fellas, everybody doing good?
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, great.
No complaints, man. My like everybody, my world was shocked yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to fully grasp and recover from everything that transpired.
Well, and that's exactly why we're here, because
Yeah.
who better to talk about what occurred in front of the world? Two Black men that you hate to see it, but at the same time, I think it involves topics that we've talked about over the last few weeks, and everything from mental health to what it's like to love a Black man to even self-love, right? Which next week, the self-love break room will drop. But I think there was a lot, and we've talked about Will Smith a lot probably in the last 6 months or so.
Yeah.
Most of us here have read his book, and it was very interesting. But before I give my take, as always, I want to open it up to you guys and see what your take was on the situation last night.
So I was watching it live, and I have the satellite cable thing in the house. So we're watching it. EJ and I are just, having to be on. I was truly only there to see. We're going to talk about Bruno. We performed live. That was my main focus for the last 2 days, and it happened to be on. I was like, great, I'm going to watch it. And then I was like, oh, this is cool. Chris Rock's coming out. So like he comes out, does his thing, and then all of a sudden, it's just like, is that what? Why is we walking up to this? Oh my god! And then like it froze. And I'm like, not now. No, not now. Why would it happen? And I'm like, wait, no, that was too clean of a cut. There's no way that the antenna or there was no cloud or anything. Someone happened crazy. And then it came back and you saw the shock on Lupita's face. You were like, oh, something seriously just happened. So I'm shocked at the whole thing. I can't believe that it happened that way. At two gentlemen of that stature at that level on that stage. I mean, you can just tell it was a build up over time, but it definitely was. It was triggered. Something clearly triggered that happened after the initial chuckle.
So I think you are right. I think there is a buildup on the part of Will, which we'll get into that in a little bit. But I also watched it live, and I had the same thing happen where all of a sudden it was like, okay, did the cameraman fall asleep? What happened?
Right.
All of a sudden it was, you seeing the ceiling, you're seeing different things around.
Chaos.
Chaos. And then sound was muted, you could see Will saying something, and
Yeah.
for those of us, you know, who have
Can we live?
heard such things before, we knew exactly what
Yes.
he had said.
Yes.
But I think at that point, we all still thought, "Oh, this isn't real. This is staged. This
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
you know, we're waiting for the joke." But then,
Mm.
There's no punchline.
there is no punchline. Well, there was a slap line.
Yes, right. Right.
There was a slap line, but so let me ask you guys, right? So you know, Art gave his perspective. Anybody have anything different?
So you know, I'm not I go to sleep early, so I wasn't even worried about thinking about at all any of this. This morning when I woke up, I was taking my future mother-in-law into dialysis, and I was driving in, literally like the last thing before I'm about to drop her off. She's just like, "Did you see Will Smith last night?" And I'm just like, "What do you mean?" "Oh, he slapped Chris Rock." I'm just like, "What? You're what? Hold on." It sounded like what you said was that Will Smith slapped Chris Rock. She's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "You're lying. There's no way." But then she's like, she's getting out the car, and so I'm like, "This is not information that you say casually, because this doesn't seem real." And like, what are you talking about? So of course I parked. I'm like, I can't go home. I can't do nothing else. I got to find out what's going on. I jump online and I see, and not even jump online. I open my phone.
Oh, for sure.
And go to my WhatsApp where all of us have a chat together, and I see over 140 messages in my chat that I missed over the night. And I'm just like, what is going on? What has happened? This can't be true. You can't tell me Big Willie style that went out, you know, the went off the handle. So I jump on, I see the video, and the first take of the video, I'm like, that's got to be staged, because it was the most amazing slap upon further review and continuous, you know, dissecting. It was one of the most glorious slaps I've ever seen in my life, because the where it came from, how we mounted the slap, how we delivered, all of these things were just like, they were amazing. And simply only because it is Will Smith, was it not thunderous? It was still chaos and confusion, but the only reason it wasn't like earth and brimstone moving and crazy stuff going on, and it is only solely because it was Will Smith. Because then also it was just the thing was smoother than silk and butter, man. Like, I mean, it was the smoothest thing I've seen, by way of letting it be known, hey, I'm not tolerating anything. Like, it was the most smooth, casual walk up, delivery, walk back straight and jack. I mean, it was only thing that needed to happen was come with it. Go get a little baby powder. Go and put that thing on there. It was just shocking.
Before you go, Kay, I want to say that the only thing that could have made that the next level would have been a backhand. That would have been the only way to change.
Look, let me tell you, I don't even think a backhand could, like, the delivery was so, like, I've never seen a smack like that. Period.
It's hard
I've never like it was such a form of smack and punch, like this amazing like collaboration that he brought.
That's what it was. That's exactly what it was. It was somebody who has been trained at boxing, and if you look at the way he moved his body, it was perfect. Like,
oh, it was through.
That's why everybody was confused. Like, was it a punch? Was it a slap? Like,
including Chris.
But Chris didn't know what happened. Ready to punch back though. Chris hands balled up.
I don't know what he expected at that point in time.
Oh, I had to capture that one for everybody, because everybody was like, oh, you know, he didn't even have a reaction. It's not real. So I had to get the exact moment where you could see his left hand had clutched, and his right hand he had started to ball it up. And then he started saying, "Ooh, I can't go back to the New Jack City days. I need I need this. I'm gonna be on the worst end of this if I retaliate." You know, it's always the second. It's always the person that retaliates.
And he's played a boxer in a couple movies, whereas very few of my films, I think, if any, have been a star action role. You know, I've done a lot of comedies and dramedies and all of that good stuff,
Yeah.
and even, got a little bit of the psycho thriller action, but it wasn't a lot of real fighting in his last movie going on. He did a little tussling, but it wasn't no
Yeah.
real Will Smith action.
Yes. Yes.
I'm with you, Fresh, man. I woke up this morning at like 6 to text messages at 6 o'clock in the morning, and it was the family group chat that was going off. My uncle had sent the video to the family group chat, and
Brett, we need a little bit more.
oh, so volume still an issue for me.
It's staticky, yo.
Oh man,
It's like we're playing you on a cassette tape.
Yeah, or like you under water. You're live direct under the ocean giving like the Aquaman review.
I don't know what it is. Well, I'm gonna just go ahead and okay, go ahead and ask your question, man.
Yeah, unplug the mic. There you go.
Restart.
No, we need you to come back, man.
Listen, the show didn't stop last night.
Oh, we're gonna keep going for sure. I mean,
How does it sound now?
Oh,
it's
That's
much
way
better.
better.
It's better here.
We'll see what happens on the recording. But I woke up like you, Fresh, to the text messages, family group chat, didn't know what had happened. And then it was 150 or so messages in the frat group chat about this whole thing that happened last night, and then been having conversations all day. So I was crazy surprised to see what happened. But I don't know. I think that there is a little bit. I don't know based on Will's initial reaction to the situation that what happened was all him. I know he channeled a lot of Inner Daddy-O, and I know him and Rock got history and everything. But I think there was a little. I think when the camera went off screen, there had to have been something that Jada might have said or did, because he laughed, and it wasn't a laugh like, okay, nah, it was a like, I'm a comedian. I've been in comedic situations. I get it. I feel like type of situation. And then I think maybe the weight of the world kind of flushed over him in some like short time span. And he like, okay, I got to go defend my wife's.
Right.
At this point.
I don't think the complexity of the joke sat with him at first. I don't think it hit until after he looked at Jada and then processed what was going on. It's like one of them things like you hear a joke and everybody's laughing and he's a comedian on stage, check it there. Ha ha. Wait, what did you just say?
Will Smith at a Hollywood thing that he has been trained to forever. Hey man, you laugh at the jokes going on, stuff's going on, and he was just in the swing of things and everything, and you see him just do it was the Hollywood. Hey man, we're all it's gag reel, laugh reel. Let's go ahead. We got to keep this thing up, y'all. But then it was the visualization in look, Jada looked like a mafia boss, because if you really watch the way that everything, like she had a look of just disapproval at first, just like, oh no, that's not cool. Will laughed and kind of looked over at her with a little bit of a side, and you could just see the look on her face like, cancel this fool. And I mean, I didn't get to see the approach.
Right.
I didn't see that video, but just seeing like, yo, you saw her reaction to look at him, and then you see Chris Rock just kind of like, oh yeah, oh hey, Richard's coming up, and then it's just like, whoa, wait a minute, what? Wait, what? I still.
So I have a different take. I have a different take on that, and there've been a lot of comments that have said that Will was laughing, and then it wasn't until he saw Jada, and she runs the household, is pretty much what people have been saying, and exactly that. She gave the look of it's go time, and he got up. I think what happened was, one, the movie that was referenced is very old, G.I. Jane.
Yeah.
He had to now think about it. Wait a minute. And then in that moment, I think we've seen everything that has been leading up to that, which is Will no longer wanting to wear the mask. He just wants to be Will Smith, the human being, not Will Smith, the actor, the rapper, none of that. So in the process of laughing, it's like he changed the script from I'm supposed to laugh at this and decided, no, I am not laughing at this, and I'm going to do something about it right now.
Mhm.
Right.
And he went so far to pure will that for those of you that have read his book, what you saw that's not really out of character for him. That's more so in character with who he is.
That's funny because I've been having that conversation all day with Chris, because I think she's so used to seeing Will with the mask on, and he references the book. And I know, because I'm into the book now, that it's exactly what you just said. And I don't think a lot of people, because they haven't read the book and haven't gotten some of that inside view, are really taking that piece into consideration.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
There's a lot of
And it's not the first slap incident. If you guys remember, 3-4 years ago, he was in Europe somewhere, and one of
Oh,
the
that producer, I mean that photographer, right?
it was
Photographer?
I think it was an interviewer or something like
Somebody
that.
came
He
in
tried
for
to
a
kiss
kiss,
him.
somebody
Tried to kiss him.
he was doing like a premiere, or something.
Yeah. And
And
it was it was an interviewer.
the gentleman tried to kiss him, and he slapped him.
Because
Yeah,
it
go
was
to.
like it was like he's used to the European, kiss on the cheek type thing, but dude like tried to kiss him, and he immediately went Big Willie style.
He even talks about how Jay-Z called him and said, "Man, I saw what you did, and it was the funniest thing I've seen. I keep playing it over and over."
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think what we got to see, one, there is some type of unhealed trauma
Mm-hmm.
going on there for this brother. And he is in this journey to be himself. And if you think it's a very heightened environment with a lot of things going on, it didn't help that he was center stage,
Right.
right there in the front, where he could just back up out of his seat and walk up on the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it just boiled over. And yeah, I'm sure a lot of it has to do with the relationship. And again, it comes to, it is no secret that they are probably going through a very difficult time with their relationship. And we have to put on this face, this mask that I don't want to wear, just for me to be out here taking pictures on the red carpet. People calling us, Will, Jada, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
And who knows what happened from them leaving the house to them actually getting there.
Sure.
So there was just so much. And I think we got to see him be a human being. And I think everybody is putting this unfair of, you're a celebrity, you have all this money, you know better.
Well, I think most people were talking about the fact of like loss. And normal person, that happens. There's cases, there's lawyers, there's so much involved. At this level with the funds, and I think everything you said, just go back for a second, everything you said is completely nail on the head. And there's definitely something deeper inside that's coming out, and it will come out, I'm sure, more and more every day. He'll release what he wants to release for that process for you. But the celebrity part, you said, is that there's just so much money on that table at that time frame that you're like, man, is he going to mess up? What did that cause a mess up of his bag? One, and if does Chris Rock now, and I said it myself, Chris Rock now probably could be, all right, well, I'm just going to retire now, because that is now, like, I'm not going to hand it back. That's all legal now. All lawyers take care of that, and I'll get my bag, so forth, from this point forward. So that's where I think they're coming from. Those who do not have immediately think, oh, well, this is about to be a case. It's about to be, a come up for Chris. But Chris has enough. He doesn't need a come up from that. I mean, from the outside looking in, obviously. But yeah, that's just where that mindset may come from.
I think one of the things that frustrates me the most with society, right, is people have such a hard time getting outside of their world, right, and thinking of their own circumstance and how they live in what's going on, right. Me personally, I do not believe that Will and Jada's relationship is as in such disarray as we believe, as the public is led to feel, in a sense, because I think far too many people assume that their open relationship status has more weight in value in the sense of them feeling like the August Alsina thing. I think what affected him more about August Alsina is more of the details that wound up coming out that made it seem more of a relationship, I feel, than Jada let him know about. You know what I mean? Like, I think their open relationship is more based on, you know, being able physical attraction type things and trying not to put it in the sense of having a true relationship with another person. But you can have, you know, these tiffs, and, you know, as long as it's not going into like you're really having a relationship. And I think that's kind of where the public friction started with, you know, all of that situation. I hear a lot of people who are like, well, he didn't slap nobody, you know, August Alsina and doing all of this when all of that was going on. But I think the difference in last night was his woman was being disrespected.
Right.
All these other times, you know, these are visions of what people feel are him being disrespected, right? Shouldn't he feel disrespected because she went and was dating August Alsina? Or shouldn't he feel disrespected from this? As opposed to last night was, hey, you are disrespecting my woman. Regardless of all of this that's going on, I've let it be known that Jada is still my woman. We still work through things. We still have a relationship. So you're not disrespecting. But it's also, look, last night, it was just a extreme, like, there were so many things that were perfect, including it being Will Smith, including it being Chris Rock, including it being, you know, a night where he was going to be honored. And so he was in proximity. All of these things that you just brought up, like all of these moments coming together to be able to even bring the opportunity for what happened to happen, but then for it also not to be the extreme chaos. Again, anybody else in that, you put a white host, a different person delivering the slap, all of this, like, there's no other concoction that you can come up with that this wouldn't have been extreme chaos. Also, I do not feel that this is going to negatively impact Will Smith's, you know, path and elevation, you know, continued elevation on any of the other opportunities he is going to get. But again, only because it's Will Smith.
Right.
So hold on right there. From the standpoint of his personal body of work, it may. What he does with his production company and is doing for other people, maybe not.
What do you mean? You mean like his acting opportunities? You think that this is going to affect his acting opportunities? Is that what you're saying?
It could, to some degree. We'll see what happens. I think a lot of it is going to land on whatever the Academy decides they want to do.
Right. But he can still do, well, Will's always very selective on what he chose anyway. So he's not going to drop anything out of randomness. And most things that he's in, he's a part of production. So you're going to see his production company behind it.
But you still got to remember, the Academy is going to put pressure on the other people that might work on one of his projects.
True. And based upon not what just what his response today may have.
So he apologized already.
100 and that's the again, only Will Smith, right? Like, and only because of who he is. While I do understand where you're coming from, and because of course at the end of the day, in the black and white sense, yes, it does depend on how things unravel and, you know, how the Academy feels. However, at the end of the day, it's very hard for me to envision them go like, and it would have been different had he went up there, slapped them, and then, like, you know, be it like he had to come get taken off of him, or you know what I mean, he would have been at the speech just like, yo, and F that N-word and you know what I mean? But because it was, again, one of the smoothest things ever, again, nobody is condoning the actions.
No. I think you missed that. You may have missed that piece. What did he say exactly? Keep my wife's name.
I did not miss that piece.
Out your effing mouth. And it was loud. And it it was loud.
But again, it was not it was not delivered. It was not delivered in the live show. B, it was again
not in the live US show. It was in the Australian show, the Japanese show.
However, again, it's even in the way that he delivered that, even in the way that he delivered that, it still was not as nasty. And part of it was in the way Chris accepted it, right? Because that's the like, again, it could not have been any other people, because hats off to Chris for not going ahead and allowing, you know, his emotion to come out in that sense. Like,
he almost did.
And it was just such a, again, it only could have happened with those people. The way, any other way that you mix this drink, it is poisonous. And so it is literally amazing to see all of that transpire. You cannot, it is very rare that you can have two brothers who come to conflict like that and it doesn't just explode, right? Like, imagine if you were at your family picnic and you know, your brother-in-law comes over and smacks, you know what I mean? Like, any of these types of scenarios that you think of anywhere, your grandpa comes and slaps, you know, whoever, it doesn't matter, like, chaos will ensue. And so it's just again, it just being Big Willie style. Yes, he was out of line, but again, it was even in that outburst, it was still such a, like, it was just a quick, poignant statement. Granted, he used derogatory, like cussing, but it still wasn't as, you know, like, it's like, I get it, but at the same time, again, because it was Will Smith, it just was not as much as it really is. I guess that's the weird thing about it, right? Is because of who he is, it's like that's why it's still so shocking, because it still seems so surreal no matter how many times that you watch it, that it's just like, but wait a minute, this is Will Smith.
Go ahead, Art. I think you were gonna say something, and then I want to
No, I'm just looking at the comments coming in on the side and bringing his source words to Hollywood made me laugh. But that was I was just thinking that he was going to say throughout all that, I think the defense he'll be able to use with across the rest of the countries, because outside of the U.S., defending the honor of your wife is a really big deal. So I think the fact that he said, keep my wife's name, any other country right now is going to be like, oh, well, no, he didn't say keep my name. He didn't take a shit personally. He was defending the family. So I think that might save based on the outside of the U.S. Now, his apology will cover the U.S., but that fact right there, because the other cultures are so strong.
Family name, big family,
family. So even though it was a swear word, so forth from there, it's probably going to blow over.
Also, outside, in all honesty, outside of the U.S., they are a lot more lenient with swear words and everything else.
Clearly, because you can watch it on TV.
A lot more lenient. So I do understand. I just don't feel the levity is going to be as I think everybody's still gonna look. Will Smith is internationally known. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter.
So let me take you guys to a different part of this, right? And look, I just want the viewers to understand we're not here to try and figure out right and wrong, because that's not really on us. And until you're in that situation, you really can't say how you would react.
Right.
Was he in a no-win situation? Everybody talks about a win-win situation. Was he in a no-win? Because if he does nothing,
that's definitely what I was thinking the whole time. Like, he had two choices: do nothing or respond. Either way, the critics were going to come after him. Like, all the people that say he was wrong, I'm not condoning what happened, but all the people that say he was wrong were also going to comment like, you didn't defend your wife, you didn't stick up, you didn't say nothing. You're supposed to be a man, you're supposed to protect your wife. And I saw a lot more comments from ladies that were on the side of he was wrong.
Everybody feels like he was wrong. Like,
and I'm not saying it's a man versus a woman thing, but I was surprised that there weren't a lot more ladies that were defending him, saying he was defending his wife. Now, was the medium the proper way to do it, whatever?
Right.
Hey, you and I will never be in that situation sitting in the Oscars where our wife may be making fun of by the comedian on stage, like Chris Rock, right? We will never be in that position. We don't know what the feeling was. We don't know what.
Well, I'm not going to say that we will never be in that position.
Yeah,
Right.
we might, because one of our players might be up there one day. But I do think, BJ, you got a point to that mindset. I think that Will could have said those words right there on the spot and just screamed out, "Hey, not tonight," or "Not today, Chris," or "Not allowed," "Chris, cut it out," and then that would have had the same effect across for Chris to be like, "Oh, that was line too far." Chris could have came back because Chris has done it before, where he's like, "Hey, my bad, that was too far." He's done it on stage at one of the shows before in the past. I can't remember which one it was, but he's done it. So that could have been that medium. But again, like you said, Kay, there was something in there that the only thing that could possibly their internal rage had to be, I need to let this out, and I'm not sure how I'm going to do it, to walk up. And I think the
hold on first. I'm gonna let Brett get in because he was trying to get in like
I think
2 thoughts ago.
it obviously wasn't the appropriate way to handle the situation. I still don't. I feel like he was justified in everything he did. But there's a several ways he could have handled that situation. Maybe he pays at home if he doesn't go up there and slap Chris Rock. But I mean, he's going to pay in other ways. Either way, I think he got to take it in stride because I feel like it was an appropriate response. Maybe not have been the appropriate response, but he could have done so many other things. He could have shot a joke back and then pulled Chris to the side at some point during the show or whatever. But live action, public, you publicly, make fun of my wife, so you have to publicly deal with, my response. I think that's
So I think those were the choices. It was go up here, do something. Right. Obviously, the something could have been different because he could have went up there. He could have pulled Chris close, covered the mic, and said, "Hey, man, I need you to apologize right now,
and
or we're gonna have a situation later." And then turn around and just walk back off. Or he could have done nothing, and then inside his house, there's no peace.
Yeah. But see, the thing is that,
and then it probably gets brought to the red table.
Oh,
red
for
table
sure.
talk.
It's going to
mean,
the red table.
Hey, look, you guys are forgetting. Hey, this is not the first time Chris Rock has made a joke.
That's the other thing.
On the same stage about Jada, and you know what I mean?
No, I'm not
on the
forgetting
same
anything.
stage
I'm
as
aware.
what you call it. So we are not well, maybe some of our viewers aren't, Carol. That we are forgetting about that aspect. Look, it is 100% sure there is a lot more weight than just that moment that was delivered in that slap. That look, this is not the first time Will literally just put out a comedy special where he brought a whole bunch of new comics, and gave them the opportunity out in Vegas and XYZ. So he is well aware of what comedians do and how they get down, and that getting being in that type of arena, and especially at the Grammys, that is what happens. What the host goes through and picks through everybody who is there.
But
this
is
a
natural. Hold on. That's not what happens, because somebody else tried to say the same thing to me earlier today. You can't tell. I haven't had an example come up yet where somebody has gone at another man's wife about a disease that she has openly struggled with and had to deal with.
Okay, Chris Rock said that he had no clue about the disease. All he saw was her haircut. Many people did not know about her disease. And I can show you many examples of people like Gervais where they're just going in, to put it again, no one knows whether or not, except for Chris, knows truly if he knew the extent of her disease, and all he was doing was just going at her haircut, right? And so in that context, I can definitely show numerous examples of comedians on stage going at people who have different ailments, or are said something funny, or had something a slip on camera, XYZ. So it definitely is a natural cause that does go on at the Grammys. Like, these hosts go into whoever are the stars that are going to potentially win. Again, though, this has been a subject that has been coming up because comedians have been getting a lot of this backlash with, oh, your comedy shouldn't be talking about this, or it shouldn't be that. And I am a firm believer of comedy is comedy. Like, they are just, some of it can be a little, it was a little rough, but at the same time, it's like, we understand comedians are doing what they are doing.
Here's the interesting part about that, though. I was waiting today to see if a couple different people spoke up in Chris's defense. Dave Chappelle, nada. Kevin Hart, nada. Maybe like a Jerry Seinfeld or somebody, nada. Right?
Adam
And
Sandler.
who?
Adam Sandler would have been one too. Adam
Okay.
Sandler. That's like his best friend.
I don't consider him one of the big people, but yeah, that's a whole nother story.
Funny. Come on, Adam Sandler. Come on.
Right.
That's a whole nother story. That's not for this podcast, not this episode. But go ahead, Ian. Call me. I'm such a hater.
We already know your views on those movies.
But you know, it didn't happen, right? And again, we will never know what the true situation is. We will never know what happened behind the scenes afterwards. But what I do want to do, I want to take it from Will and Chris, and I want to make it you guys.
Before we make that jump, because there's one important piece that I think we need to touch and make sure everybody understands, because it wasn't until I heard some stuff later on the day that it come full-fledged. When he won his Oscar, when he won for King Richard, right? And he's emotional. He's talking about, I'm not crying because I won an award. I'm crying. He went to the whole spiel. He actually thanked Denzel Washington.
Mm-hmm.
And why is that? We talk about Will is 53 years old. He's at the epitome of a lot of things in life. He's at the top of his game and a lot of different things. He's been from like nobody. If you go back to like some of the other stuff to some blockbusters, like year after year, the music, whatever. Denzel Washington being that seasoned person in the field, after all this happened, he said Denzel and Tyler Perry pulled him to the side. He said, Denzel told me, when you're at your highest point, the devil will come for you.
Yep.
He said that on stage in his acceptance speech. I don't want to move past that because we may not have said it in those words, but we've talked about that concept many times in the last 221 episodes to even name. I can't even go back and name it all the times we named it, right? Very poignant point because it took somebody else who has been in that position, who is seasoned, who knows the rights, who knows the ups and downs, who has been probably through way more stuff than we've ever known. Denzel, there's probably some stuff out there in Denzel's life that we would never know.
Oh, for sure.
But it took him, I believe Will Smith's speech would have been totally different had that conversation not happened.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I told him that. It's that when you're at your highest point, this is the epitome for movies, for things. Like, this is, how many movies has the man been in? This is his first Oscar. Like, you think back, like, how many blockbusters there have been? Mm-hmm. He hasn't got an Oscar yet. Like, this one night when you're going to reach your pinnacle of this in this field, this may be the tarnish, the blemish on your record that may make or break your career, right? We don't know at the point of time to tell. But it took somebody reaching down and whispering in his ear and letting him know, come back to reality. That's the raw emotion you saw in his acceptance speech. I saw people comment about, oh, he wasn't sincere. He was just up there, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. Like, that man might be struggling through so many things. We can't put what we think is going to happen or what we blame this, blame that, whatever. Each of us needs somebody in our lives that can do that for us, and we have to allow people to do that. And you have to be that person for somebody sometime.
Again, that moment, there are too many. If Denzel wouldn't have said that, what kind of speech, if any speech at all, would we have got? If Denzel Washington and Tyler Perry weren't there, would he even have been able to gather himself up enough to even be able to sit back down and sit in the audience? You know what I mean? Like, there were so many pieces throughout the whole as it played out. And listening to his acceptance speech, if you listen, he never once apologized to Chris in that acceptance speech, right? No. Everything was geared toward, and he let it be known where the just like in saying, hey, keep my wife's name out your effing mouth, he let it be known in that acceptance speech that where it came from was in that, protecting my family. Family is everything. And really right now I'm in a space where family is everything. I thought it was really deep when he said he wants to be a river. I was like, wow, that's That's powerful, man. Like I want to be a river. I want things to flow, you know, be that source of flowing energy. Like that's big. But it
And that,
again,
and that wasn't like people like, oh, you know, he's saying all this on the spot, trying to say faith. No. He's been saying this for months now.
and yeah, and
Even in relation to Jabari Banks, who's the kid that's playing Will on in Bel Air on Peacock, he said, I want to be for Jabari Banks what Quincy Jones was for me.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I think when you look at it, and the two young ladies that played Venus and Serena,
Yeah.
hey, I
he said
want
their
to
name twice.
I
in
want
the-
to
in the speech.
introduce
Yep.
them to everybody in this room and set their career.
Sure.
So if you go and you blemish and you tarnish this man now, how many people does that really impact because of this one slip that he had, when there are other people out there that have all types of slips and do all types of crazy stuff?
Mhm.
You know, they said some examples earlier, like, hey, we hope they don't take the Oscar away, because there's some other folks right now that, you know, are criminals
Mm.
Yeah, the
that
Harvey
that
Weinsteins
that
and
still have their Oscar.
Correct.
So it's a great point, BJ. I was gonna come back to that, but you
I
brought
didn't
it up.
mean to, I didn't want to leave too far without that, because I think
No,
you
it's cool. I
touched
just
on
don't
it
know
so
how I'm gonna
many-
close out the show now, because
way to go, BJ.
My
Way
bad,
to
my
go.
bad.
you took that, but
Ruined
that's
it.
okay
Exactly.
We're gonna close it. We're still gonna close it out on a high note, but that I didn't want to move past that, because when I finally put, but if you look at several, I googled his acceptance speech. I heard that part on 3 out of the 6 I listened to. So not everybody's even playing that piece.
Oh,
That's
Mhm.
interesting. That's really interesting. But what I will say is, when you think about how he moves forward now,
Mhm.
if it's any of you guys, what do you do next?
He's going to continue to be Will Smith, and I think it's again, all of these moments are only it's surreal, but again, Will is one of the only people who could be in this place and be able to thrive from it, because in a weird sense it brought so much more light to exactly what he wanted to in his acceptance speech, by way of bringing, you know, light to the actual story and the actual other actors and what was going on within the movie. And Will has a real, I don't want it to be about me sense right now, and I have so much more I want to, you know, give out to the world, that I think it's going to provide a amplifier for everything that he's doing, because he was already on a path of wanting to do these things. He definitely understands and has seen the weight of what last night, like all of the moment from him slapping all the way to, you know, his acceptance speech, and all of the energy within that it is only going to amplify his passion and cause right now. And it is also amplified the help, because it's going to now bring in more people who just want to join on the path of feeling, I need to go out and help Will Smith, because I can't believe that, you know, he cracked like this, so I feel that I need to go and help. But it's also going to just amplify the people who truly are getting energized with his vision and what he is trying to accomplish. Now he just has a larger, which is insanely crazy to think of. Will Smith now has a larger stage. But yes, that's what I believe it is going to do, because again, it's always in the reaction of what's going on. And Will Smith has shown that his character, you know, I would not thought I would have been able to say, I watched Will Smith slap somebody, not apologize for it in his acceptance speech, and still felt like, you know, everything, while it was crazy, it wasn't just like, oh, you know, the world's over and we need to cancel Will Smith, and you know what I mean, burn Independence Day, or you know what I mean, like it, because of who he is, how he handles things, what's going on. Denzel Washington being there, being able to say something, you know, as powerful as, at your highest times, the devil is going to, you know, that's when he's coming for you. Even just like, and who even knows if the Will Smith of 2, 3, 5 years ago would have even been able to, with the situation, would have brought those words to the table in the speech. You see what I'm saying? Because Will Smith has always been Will Smith. And so who knows if he would have brought that religion kind of, into it. But you could see and feel the passion of what he was saying in that acceptance, that so much it came to a head, but yet so much was still able to be delivered in that moment with what he was saying.
If I am Will Smith, my next move is I go on tour, and the tour is going to be a mental health and wellness tour for Black men. And if he charges Tony Robbins conference money, I'm going.
Yep.
I'm going. And you bring whatever celebrity people you want to bring, to come out there and talk to. And listen, when you talk about being a river, because I think when you have somebody that shows on that type of stage that they're not perfect, even with all the money they have, I'm still a human being. I make mistakes, but not only am I going to benefit from it, but all of you are going to benefit from it. And you're right. The magic of Will Smith is that a bunch of Black men will stand up and say, you know what? Yeah, we want to show up. We want to come and we want to talk.
And that's exactly what we are missing right now in this Instagram social media society, is these false beliefs that things are easy baked and that success is microwaved, and assuming that people who have completed tasks or had accomplishments or what we vision as success for some reason lack any type of struggle or continuous hurdles or things that they have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. Like, we have to get into a space of understanding that any road is not, it's bumpy, but it's okay. It's about being able to deal with those bumps and navigate that, create a wonderful and beautiful life. Like, it's not an easy road, but being able to understand that you can still navigate and go down that thing is what creates an enriched life.
He started making some things today. I haven't looked at the apology to Chris yet. Like, I heard, like you guys talked about before. I haven't seen that yet. But again, there has to be a sense of humility there first and foremost, which he's taking the first step. And then, like you said, okay, it has to be a sense of, what am I going to build from this? I can't let this be the end of me. I have to build from it, and not build to gain, build to give.
Mm-hmm.
And if that is the response, that is what we teach people to do in life. That's what we tell people we need to do. It's not for that personal gain. It's for, I need to be able to. I go back again. I'm gonna go back to is grace and mercy. What I'm receiving and what I'm giving. And if I'm able to replicate that, and people can call it and take grace and mercy out the picture or whatever, that's how I refer to it. But when I think about it, it's the grace of yourself, the situation, and saying that I messed up. I made a mistake. This is what it is. But here's me at my lowest point. Now we need to build from here. If we can do that, and he can help, I'm going to say millions of people in the process, it wasn't in vain. Was it ideal? No, but it wasn't in vain.
I also think there's an opportunity here for Jada to speak out.
Definitely.
And show her support and show that compassion that he needs right now, because the worst thing that could happen is that this has to be dealt with externally, and then internally that support's not there.
That's a big piece of it.
Yeah, I think that's big. I think if it's me, I have to go back and get to my inner peace. I don't know that this is Will's lowest moment. I know it's a human moment, and it's probably not him being the best version of himself. But the situation, there's a lot that built up in that situation, and then for it to be Chris Rock, if it's Jimmy Fallon or somebody else on that stage, does he feel as betrayed as he did when it was Chris Rock that said that to react the same way? And then the anger and emotion that Chris Rock was able to pull out of him, does he feel comfortable with giving somebody else that type of power to be able to make him move and shake him in that manner? Like the Denzel Washington quote, when you get to your highest, that's when the devil starts to appear. Now, I'm not saying Chris Rock did what he did for those specific reasons. And I'm also not saying that the devil can't be within. It doesn't necessarily have to be an external person. But I do believe that this is an opportunity, given everything that the Smith family has gone through and Will has gone through over the last couple of years, to take an opportunity to get back to center and find that peace, and then be able to, like you said, BJ and Carol, you alluded to, build back from that and help heal other people who may be able to deal with that type of, who have to deal with that type of energy. Because I think that's the most important piece of this. And that's where I would be trying to be with it.
Mm-hmm. Facts. All right, gentlemen, we getting here to the closing piece of this, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you all that joined on the live. We had some of our regulars here. We love y'all. We appreciate you. Mama Jones Gant, definitely thank you for showing up, hanging out with us. Antonio, ladies and gentlemen, if you're interested in travel, and once again, for the therapeutic qualities of travel, go follow our guy Antonio on Learn to Travel TV on YouTube. Definitely putting out there all of the healing possibilities of travel and the benefits of it, and being able to get out of your regular day-to-day challenges, and just free yourself and have an opportunity to think and see the world as you want it to be. If this was your first time, welcome again. And we would love for you to like, subscribe, follow. You can get us on all of the podcast platforms. And if you enjoy seeing the video, which you got an opportunity to see us live today, and for those of you really got to see, there's not much difference between the live and what you actually see on YouTube every week, because we do really very little editing at all. Even when the kids come and burst in the door and want to say good night or just ask you a question, we leave those in there too.
Like Maddie just did just now.
What'd you say?
Like Maddie just did just now.
Right, like Maddie just did right now. But definitely, thank you for joining us. And I think to close this thing out, fellas, anybody got anything they want to say before I close this out? Perfect. What I would say is, I want everybody to take a step back and think about how divided we just became in 24 hours over something that none of us have control of. What's really happening this week that we were supposed to be distracted, that we're supposed to be distracted from? Because there's definitely something. Because if you think about it right now, Black households are divided as far as, was Will right? Is it Jada's fault? Is it Chris's fault? And there's all these, I've never seen WhatsApp, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. That's all that we were been talking about for the last 24 hours. What did it take us away from? And the same external noise that got into Will Smith's head, is that getting into your head? And is that making you miss out on you being the best version that you could be of yourself? So I really want you to tune in to yourself, get yourself centered, because what you saw last night, we go out and do every single day. We go out there with a goal. We let our emotions take over. We do things that we wouldn't normally do if we had a clear head. And because it's not on such a big screen, we don't think as much of it. But every little bit adds to it. And just know that when you have something great happen in your life, and this is what we used to say, BJ, I always used to say, for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. And that was not just for physics. Why are you laughing, Brett?
I've been saying that all day. Like Chris Rock said it, and he got exactly what he put back out there, right back. But
Right back. And just know what Denzel said is true. It is not a biblical law. Well, maybe it is biblical. It is a universal law. Something is going to come to test you in your greatest moment.
Yep.
And the thing is, you have the ability to have your greatest moment every single day. So you will be tested every day. Where will you show up? Will you show up on the side of what you should do? Or will you show up on the side of what the noise told you to do? That's our show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us here on the 13th floor, where the furniture isn't always the best, but the views, they are amazing. And we will catch you all next week.
We got no outro music. We got dancing over.
Yeah, we got no outro music. There you
Just
go.
imagine
Brad.
this there, ladies and gentlemen. Imagine this there.
13th floor, y'all.
It'll be on the replay, Jack.
Yeah.
Hey.
13th floor,
Shout
y'all.
out to the replay squad.
13th floor, y'all. Yeah.
What did the five fingers say to the